Hello and welcome back to Super Paper Mario. This video is a bit different from the Flipside Pit video, and that's because this one went through several technical issues at the late stages, so now we're stuck with this. Today I wanted to explain how the Flopside Pit of 100 trials differs from the one in Flipside, discuss how to prepare for the pit, and then talk about what strategies I use for some of the enemies in the pit. I will then discuss my strategies for beating the final boss of the pit and the reward. Let's start off with the first part. What is the Flopside Pit of 100 Trials? The Flopside Pit of 100 Trials is a second gauntlet type of challenge where you draw through 100 floors worth of enemies suspended on platforms arranged in randomized ways. Every 10th floor will grant you a code card, just as the previous pit did, and the 100th floor features a final boss which you must defeat. Where it differs from the first pit is in two notable ways. The first way is what the enemies are. They are not standard enemies, these are quote-unquote dark enemies, pitch black variants of these enemies. These variants are generally much stronger forms of the enemies, and they may also come in different variations of the normal enemy would, but it's been disguised by the fact that they're now silhouettes. For instance, if you ran into a dark Koopa, it could either be a dark red Koopa or a dark green Koopa. You will not know which one you are facing until it walks up to the edge of a platform and either falls off it or turns around. The most important example of where this comes into play is the Cursiers. 4 of the 5 variants of Cursiers can show up in the pit, and the only one that has been left out is the back Cursier. Luckily, to deal with the silhouette problem, you can use Tippy to uncover what type of enemy is in the way specifically, and if you're entering the spoiler territory, consider revisiting chapter 3-4. The other key way in which the Flopside Pit differs from the Flipside Pit is that it must be done twice. When you reach the 100th floor on the first attempt, the final boss of the dungeon will tell you to exit and start again. Only once you reach the 100th floor the second time will you be able to fight the final boss and claim the reward. You may take a break between runs to prepare for the second one. So how did I prepare? Let's keep in mind that I am doing this after chapter 7. First of all, by this point in the game I have unlocked every single pixel, including all 3 bonus ones. If you do not already have Piccolo, it may be a good idea to grab it just in case you run into a Cursier by accident. Levels wise, I leveled up until my HP was at 80. I prepared for the second run by leveling up until I was 100 HP. The best way to level up quickly in this game is to jump on the mud ball spat out by the swig in a long combo. You can do this just about anywhere you find a swig. All you need to do is get up close, land on the mud ball as it is being spat out, and hold 2. You should keep an eye on your position as you are in the air while you do this and adjust accordingly. However, if you don't want to do this method or are struggling to do it, you can always go back to the Flipside Pit and rack up points simply by playing through it over and over again. At this point in the game, it should be relatively easy to beat the Flipside Pit. Once I was at the level I needed, I then went about buying the items I needed. You can purchase an Ultra Shroom Shake from the Flopside shop for 300 coins. You can then take an Ultra Shroom Shake to Saffron and return for a Shroom Steak. These will heal 70 HP when eaten. To get the coins for this, head to the Flipside card shop and fill your inventory with catch cards. Take one to chapter 5-2 and capture the Amazing Daisy, which you can find by continuously running right and headlining through the first door you find every single time. Once you've used up every catch card, sell 3 of them at the card shop for a total of 900 coins, and then spend all of those coins on the Ultra Shroom Shakes. Sell the next 3 Amazing Daisy cards, buy 3 more, and keep going until the inventory is full of Ultra Shroom Shakes. You can then take them to Saffron and claim your Shroom Shakes. If your HP is not at max before entering the pit, stop by the beds of Flipside and get your health back to full. Now you are ready to enter the pit. For general advice, I did much of this pit using Peach in the Pixel Cudge. Peach is primarily useful for shielding. Hold down the D-pad to guard against the attacks to ensure you take 0 damage. Cudge is useful for quickly taking down a lot of enemies. I would still encourage bouncing off of them at the earlier stages for the sake of racking up more XP though. This is because if you level up at any point, your health bar is completely restored, meaning you won't have to use a healing item to recover if that happens. Which is why at many points in my footage you can see me looking at the menu. If I found myself getting anywhere near to a level, I would specifically hold out on using a healing item and instead try to wait for the level to occur. However, if I start getting too low, I would just use the healing item and forget about holding out anyway. Especially at the earlier stages where my max HP is around 80. That first run of the pit is a lot more difficult than the second, especially if you do more preparations between runs. As for items, I try keeping healing items that drop just in case of poisoning, but obviously with so many massive healing buffs out on hand, the inventory either fills up really quickly or is full when I did the preparations. Frequently, I would quickly drop one of my Shroom Steaks, consume the new healing item that dropped, and then pick the Shroom Steak back up. This is because I've usually taken damage before this happens, and it doesn't hurt to delay the need for a Shroom Steak. For catch cards that dropped, I would try to use it on a nearby enemy if my inventory was full. It can be useful to save a catch card for a particularly brutal enemy that may come up in a later room, but if your inventory gets full before you find it, there's no real harm in just using it straight away and making one less enemy to deal with, especially if you're going for 100% of the game. And for attack items or other types of buff, I usually actually just discarded them. At the later stages I saved them for just in case I would get lazy, but generally I was dealing enough damage and was staying safe enough not to use these, so I would often just ditch them. Now let's talk about some more enemy specific advice. For Cursiers, I'd like to reiterate that using Piccolo removes all effects they can apply to you in the pit. I'm not suggesting that you can relax more or should let yourself get hit by a Cursier, but I am saying not to panic if you do get hit. Some of the effects may have you running straight into another enemy, so just calmly take yourself to a more empty part of the room and use Piccolo there. The most important enemy to look out for is the Dark Daisy. They function just like Amazy Daisies, which means they run away and flip between dimensions if you get too close. Their music notes now deal 20 damage and still put you to sleep. And Amazy Daisies are, in both instances, paired with enemies that make up for a nasty combo. These show up on floors 75 and 94. Here's my best advice for dealing with them. When you see an Amazy Daisy, shield up whenever it shoots the music note and try to get close. Let it flip between dimensions and remember its flipping location. Next, remove all of the rest of the enemies in the room. The Daisy does not necessarily have the key, so you may actually never have to defeat it. If you clear all the enemies and still do not have the key though, you do need to take care of the Daisy. Go back to the location it flipped in and play with Mario and Boomer. Place a bomb in the exact spot you saw it flip in and move away and then flip. Try to wait for the Daisy to get close to the bomb and then ignite it, and repeat the process. For Dark Boos, find a spot that's quiet and simply sit and wait for the Dark Boos to start flipping in. The second you see one coming in, use Kutch to hammer them away. This will stop them from doing the attack and also takes care of multiple at once, so this can quickly sweep them away. For Dark Magiblocks, you can go for a similar method, but with some key adjustments. Specifically, you should stand near the edge of the platform so that they spawn in the same direction. Instead of just standing idle and waiting, guard while waiting. Once hit by the attack, run quickly towards the Magiblock and hammer it. Be aware of enemies that can shoot out projectiles with different effects. Notably, Dark Gerbils are able to shoot out normal gerbil projectiles at random. They have the capabilities of all the different gerbils and shoot out any of the puffs of smoke at random. For Dark Mooths, lure them to the edge of the platform and jump at them from the side they approached. Try keeping your jumps landing on that side of the Mooth. If you don't end up on the opposite side, quickly run back to your starting platform and pick it up again. With Pigarithms, jump on them as they approach and keep pushing in that direction as you attack. It's easy to land 3 consecutive jumps on them as long as you do not action command when you do it. And lastly, for every 3D enemy and every enemy that can flip between dimensions, there is a legitimate strategy in just flipping to 3D and letting them all drop to the bottom layer of the room. Now, the final boss. The final boss is called Shadow, and he is a clone of the hero characters. Shadow's player turn order is the reverse of their unlocking order, i.e. Luigi goes first, Bowser second, Peach third, and Mario last. Shadow's fight is not actually too difficult if you follow a similar method I use for the whole pit, Peach and Kudge. The best way to deal with each phase using this combo is actually rather simple, and we've been doing it throughout the whole pit. For Luigi, guard and wait for the moment to approach where he's about to land on you to swing. If he pulls out a Shroom Shake, that's the perfect chance to rush in and get a hit also. For Bowser, you can do something similar, but if he breathes fire, just wait until he stops. For Peach, her floating can cause the issue that she follows a rhythm that you may not be used to, but again you can just do much of the same strategy of waiting to get the hammer in. And then with Mario, do be aware that he also uses Kudge. The reward for beating Shadow is a catch card for each party member alongside the Shadow variant. Each Shadow variant is just a card for the collection and nothing more. The normal cards for each hero do all double your attack for those heroes, and additionally, the Mario card will make it possible to stay in 3D for an infinite amount of time. And that's all you need to know about the pit. Thank you for watching.